everyone, it's Coach Vicki, and welcome to Optimal Life Balance, where you learn to have those breakthroughs, take charge of your life, and have fun both personally and in business. Last episode, we talked a little bit about, are you doing what you want to do in your career or with your life, and starting to think of where you wanted to go. Well, today we're going to kind of go into when you start feeling that overwhelm and not sure how to take those action steps. We're going to go over some tools and tips to help you maybe think of how to collect your thoughts and go forward. I know for myself, when I've got a lot of things going on, I sometimes feel like I'm stressed and I don't know which way I'm going first, that I've got so many things to do that sometimes I almost don't do anything. Just from sheer chaos that you don't even know what you're doing, or you getting things done, but you're not actually getting anything done. And that goes to because we haven't learned to prioritize and figure out what we need to do in setting our plan of action. So first thing we need to do is learn how to set a plan of action too. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go over what's called a brain dump. I don't know if you might have heard of it. And it's basically taking all of those thousands of things that are going on up in this head of ours and putting it down on paper. First of all, going from hand to paper to pen to the brain down, it works and it takes it out. Some people do like a typing, but the process of actually writing it is scientifically proven that it actually even releases it more than typing it. But basically, whichever way works for you, what you're going to do is you're going to take everything that you need to do and you are going to just write it down. If it's doctor's appointments, things for the kids, for yourself, for your business, for personal care, going have fun, whatever it may be, doing grocery shopping, whatever it is that you feel you've got to get done. Usually I do the major brain dump in the beginning of a month, and we've got a month coming up now, is everything that I want to work on, different projects. When I used to do it for my mom, I had all of her things that I had to worry about, what had to do, appointments, but whatever is going on. So then you get everything, you write it down. Doesn't matter what it is, just get it out. Once you get it out, you will feel a lot lighter, just because it's not all just in your brain thinking and taking up all that space. So now that you've got everything written down, for me, the best way of doing the next step of it is organizing it. And by categorizing it for personal, for the kids, for the house, for your business. I've got multiple things going on with my business, with the TV show, with my speaking, with my coaching. So I break it down even further into what type of categories I'm working with. So when you're starting to think of where you want to go, make sure a category in there is your personal growth. There's what a lot of us forget about. That should be a category in there of personal growth as well as personal self-care. There's two separate things there. Self-care is doing stuff for yourself, in ensuring that you spend time and relaxing stuff too. But personal growth is doing for yourself, but it is learning and stepping into what you want to do. So you want to make sure you're doing both. So what I want you to do for me is start to think where you have and what areas you're looking at. So when you start breaking down the different areas, I want you to break down whatever and how many categories you feel you need to do. Then when you do that is then take from that master list that you have and put it into each category so that it doesn't feel like it's so overwhelming of a list. You've broken it down to each thing. So when you've got it in each one, now that you've got a little bit more organized, you've got it broken down to each one, Then what we want to do is you want to then get your planner out. If it's a paper planner, if it's in the computer you use it, a digital one, whatever type of planner you like to use on there, and then start going week by week. You just do it as a time. You can fill in as much as you want, but then on each Sunday or Monday, whatever's the beginning of the week, usually I try to do it on Sundays, is plan out my week. Look at what I have to do. Remember, we said about penciling in. If you work a 9 to 5 job, you have to put that time in there first. If you got kids and they got school and practice and things like that, those have to go in. Then what's left? Usually it's not that much of a time, but that's okay. But this is where having you setting your SMART goals, setting your action steps, setting those things up correctly makes a difference. To utilize that time that you may have, that may only be this much sometimes in a day, but utilizing it to the best of its ability. For me, I have, just like I said, I still work a 9 to 5. So in the morning, I've got a few hours, and then break times and lunch times if I can get a chance to do something in there. And then after work and in the evenings is when I do most of my to-do list of, not my to-do list, my action steps on there. So there's two ways of thinking of our, what you call to-do lists or action steps. They are two separate things. Your action steps are what's called in FULA is your oranges. Those are the things you have to get done to move forward toward your goals. So whatever they may be, those main goals, those are the things that, remember we were saying, if you took those 3 daily action steps a day over a year, you'd have over 1,000 steps towards those goals. Your to-do list are those things you have to get done. Those are the appointments, the doctors, the laundry, the shopping, whatever it may be that you have to get done, but they're not getting you closer to your actual goals. So we want to make sure we realize that with that spare time that we have, that we are using that for our action steps first, and then whatever's left for our to-do list. So when we are doing that, we want to then take those action steps and really utilize them to the best of your ability. For me, just as an example, just kind of going through my day, just as gives you maybe an outline to go from. Like I said, in the morning I get the few hours, but part of my goals and my personal growth is with my faith and just some time for myself to reflect in the morning. So for me in the morning, I make sure I spend time with prayer or listening to worship or devotion, whatever I feel like into that morning. And then I do have some work that I have to get done, that because the night before I went to bed, as part of my nightly routine, is I look at what do I have to do the next day. So I'm already prepared for it. And those are all different tools and tips that you can do. So remember, when then throughout the day, in my lunch break, if I get a chance, or breaks between, that I can get some certain things done. But sometimes if I'm having a crazy day, the lunchtime I just take for lunch and don't worry about what work I might have to get done or what's on the to-do list, because sometimes you just need to take a breather. The end of my day, when I get home from work, I usually try to unwind a little bit, catch up on a few things, and my biggest time for me to get productive things done is probably from 9 o'clock at night to 1 in the morning. Everybody else is asleep in the house. The dogs are all pretty much asleep, and it's quiet time for me. So you need to find when your quiet time is, because running a business or starting a new adventure or doing whatever's on your goals doesn't always mean it has to be done between 9 to 5. You need to do it with whatever time you can get it done. So for just a kind of a quick recap on some of the stuff, if you don't know how to do SMART goals, that's something we will be going into more depth down the road, and how to set up action steps from them. But just right now, just part of your thing is before you go, if we do it monthly, we do what's called a brain dump. We take everything in our head and put it down. Then we weekly revisit that, add anything, subtract anything, what's been done, but plan out our week. Each night before you go to bed, you make sure you've checked off what you've done for the day and plan what you want to do for the next day. So that when you get up in the morning, you're not already behind the eight ball of you're not sure what you have to get done. You've already went to bed with knowing what you have to get done. That in also turn gets you a better night's sleep because your mind isn't thinking and racing, what do I have to do tomorrow? You've already got a head start. You've planned it out. You've got it under control. You understand, and you can go to sleep without worries. Now, we plan things out, and all of us know life happens. So that's okay, but that's why we call it a guide. It's a guide for your day. You realize some things happen. You get a call from the kids' school. They're sick. They got to come home. That changes your plans. I used to have a lot with my mom. I was taking care of my mom. Things that happened that it shifted my whole day. But that's okay. It was, and it is part of that. You have to realize that as long as you can keep your, as what worst part of it, your sanity with it, but keep it in balance in the realize that if I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world, that I can work on it, then is part of my priority tomorrow. Or before I go to bed, let's see what I can make sure I could check off of my list. Because you don't want to keep just pushing things off because that's never going to get you closer to your goals either. But you also don't want to beat yourself up for not achieving something because it was out of your control. Now, on the other hand, if you didn't do it because you decided you just didn't want to do it, or you were afraid to do it, or you decided to watch binge a thing on Netflix, that's a different subject. That is not utilizing or just your time the best. Though every once in a while, sometimes a good binge is good, but that should be a more than a norm. What I want you to really just think of is, what can I do in my daily routine to keep me focused, to help me achieve my goals, to feel less stressed, to feel more accomplished, to feel more confident in what I'm doing. And that is setting up systems. And those systems, you think it's, oh, I don't want to be micromanaged. It's not. Systems are just there in how structured you want them. Some systems could be more looser, some more structured. But the thing is this, if you don't have at least a starting point of a system in place, you're not going to get things done. You're going to be more chaos. And even if you get things done, you're going to get it done with a level of stress. And that's what we are working on eliminating, is finding more balance, living our optimal life, and not being so stressed. So what I would like you to work on, and if you need assistance, that's what I do as a coach, is we can take you through the different areas that you have to work on, how to do an actual brain dump, how to actually plan out your to-do list or your checklist and your goals and all of that type of things. And you're going to, and I still do it, you're going to refine it to one that works to you. If you remember going back to what we said of how you learn, that if you're a visual person or an audio person or somebody who does a lot of the writing, you may utilize different techniques and tools and tips to learn this kind of stuff, but you also may have to keep adjusting it a little bit to what works with how you do it. Like I said, a lot of the stuff I do, some of it in my computer, some of it manually, though I really like the manual paper better than doing it in my computer, because I can see it more visually for me. I don't have to go look for it on the computer. I can just open up the notebook and it's there. When I going back into the office, I may find that might be, I don't know if I want to drag that around with me. I want to just have it in my phone or on my tablet to take easier. instead of carrying books with me and planners and all that. I'm not sure. I have to plan that out and see and what it works for me. But the thing is part of it as a coach is we find what works best for you. And each one of us are different. And it may not be the first time around that we find it. Just as we're building this is a new habit, we need to start learning to do it. And we will keep working on different things till we find something that fits our learning technique, our learning style, that we can then feel comfortable in building it as a habit of making that check, taking those 3 daily action steps, writing out our goals, planning our week, realizing to do our brain dumps, whatever it may be. But once we take those steps and we do it, and it may take a few months, and that's okay, and you may tweak it, but once you put the effort and the time into it, you will realize how much more you at the end, once it becomes a habit, how much more freer time you have because you're not scrabbling around trying to do different things. You're more comfortable with what you're doing because you know what you have to get done and when you can get it done, and you know what's the top of your priority and what's things you can maybe put off, or what you can give to someone else to do. You know, the other people in the household, or if you're in your business, in your job, what things you can actually delegate down to staff on that and do more that's more important for yourself when you grow in your business, or if you work for somebody, if you're in a management position, that sometimes if you don't have to do everything yourself. So if you do that same kind of thing, you plan everything out, organize it all out. That way, when you communicate to your staff, they know what you've thought and what's important to you and what's needs to get done first, so that they're on the same wave, because they can't read our minds, though we wish sometimes they could. They can't read our minds. So till we learn to put in some systems that will get everyone to working together, even in your whole house, put up a calendar on the refrigerator of the week and say, this is what our week is. This is what I'm doing. This is what we have. This is me time. This is me growing my business time. This is me with when we're going to have family dinner time, whatever it may be. And then if not, start even giving them their own calendar and to checklists and stuff. There's never too late for people to start to learn to be organized, for kids to be young, or your husbands, or whoever else may be in your home on that. But so I want you to kind of just think of the different things you can do. Taking it, it's when I'm recording this, if you get to see it at the time when it comes, it's near the end of a month. So start thinking, let's start next month. And if not next month, you could just start the middle of the month. It does not have to be at the beginning of the month. It's when you want to get started. Sit down with a piece of paper. Take all those things that you feel you have to do, all those different projects, all those things around the house, all those things that you, as a mom or a woman, have about 50,000 different hats that we wear, and put them all on a piece of paper. Then make a column for each one of those hats and put those things from the main list onto each hat, into each column. Then once you've got that, then each week you're going to look at that list and say, okay, what is the things I have to get done this week? What are the things I can put off or delegate down? What is the stuff that I have to ensure that I am taking those action steps each day to move forward? And just as a reminder, those 3 daily action steps, though we're talking about this month, our field and our career, does not have to be in that. If that your top goals or your top priorities is not your career, or one of it is your career and the other is, say, fitness or finance or your faith or your family, then those action steps will take according to them. So maybe one will be on your business and the other one will be in your family, and one will be in your fitness for it. Or all this tomorrow, all 3 of your main action steps will be on family because you have a family get together, you're doing stuff. And then the next day, all 3 of them may be on your field, your business, your career. It doesn't have to be every day a little bit of everything, or every day all of one and none of the other. It's called optimal balance, meaning in this week, let me balance out what I need to get done in all the different parts. But because I am organized, I am using a system. I'm not going to feel overwhelmed and I am going to get more production done by the end of the month. So, with all of that, if you need any help, please reach out. I would love to sit down and talk with you on how to do that for yourself, work with you on it, and get some systems set up. But otherwise, I would like to tell you is have a blessed and fun day, and we will see you next time here at Optimal Life Balance with Coach Vicki.